Folks, this is me, Colonel Sanders. For $5, you can fill up your car with gasoline, or you can fill up yourself with my $5 fill up with finger-licking good sauce. It's tender, it's juicy, it's delicious.
Blue chicken tenders, taters, and gravy. I threw in a biscuit and a big old cookie.
My $5 fill up will fill you up, guaranteed. And that wrapped up.
It's still finger-licking.
Keeps it, and he stopped! Tennessee turns Kentucky over on downs for the third time this
Now, when I heard that we were playing Kentucky this week, I just had a moment where I just... it was like a fresh sigh of relief. Because I know that no matter how good or bad Kentucky is, the same result will prevail. You know how Florida fans, and Tennessee fans too, have been doing this, where every time we play Florida in the swamp, it's always, Tennessee just can't seem to beat Florida in the swamp. There's just something about it. That swamp voodoo, I'm telling you. Tennessee just can't seem to beat Florida whenever they have to go on the road to play the Gators. Well, in Kentucky's sake, whenever they play Tennessee, they can't beat them anywhere. They can't. Y'all can't beat us anywhere. Man, oh man, Kentucky sucks. When I make hate videos for teams like Austin Peay and like UTSA, for example, it's not like I make those videos and expect an influx of their fans. I don't expect Austin Peay fans on YouTube to run in the comment section and tell me how stupid I am. It just doesn't happen. There are barely any Austin Peay fans on YouTube, and if there are any, they certainly aren't spending their time watching Squidtard. They're off watching, gamer Let's Plays and all of that. They aren't spending their Saturday watching college football. Which begs the question, why, when I make Kentucky videos talking about Kentucky, do I never see Kentucky fans? And it's the truth. I think so far in my time on YouTube, I've interacted with about three... If we're being generous, I've interacted with about 3 different Kentucky people on YouTube. You'd think with how much trash they talk every single year about Tennessee that they'd have a wider niche of fans. You'd think there'd be more of them on YouTube. You'd think there'd be more of them on social media. Well, there are a lot of them on social media, but they're mostly on Twitter, and usually they type their stupid stuff and then, halfway through the season they disappear. The same thing happens every single year with Kentucky. And it's not even just their fans, it's the team in general. The Kentucky football is a continuous process of overinflation. Every single year. Every single year under Kentucky with Mark Stoops, it's kind of been the exact same thing. They win a bunch of games to start out the season against a bunch of Mickey Mouse opponents. They're out there playing, like Disney World West. And then everybody's like, oh man, Kentucky might be the real deal this time. All those other years that Kentucky came out and then just kind of fell off after 5 games, Not this time. Not this time. No, Kentucky's the real deal, Squidtard. You need to give Kentucky respect where it is. And then I told them the exact same thing I've been telling y'all every year. Nope. Pump the brakes on Kentucky. Let's find out what happens when they play a real opponent. And the exact same result happens. Kentucky plays any decent opponent and then just gets completely dominated. Just absolutely run off the field, and then Kentucky falls off, and then halfway through the season, all these football channels, they've suddenly switched to, well, man, this Kentucky basketball team, they're really, really good this season. Now, to give Kentucky a little bit of credit, you kind of have to think about where they were before Mark Stoops. I mean, Kentucky was like below Vandy level. They were like, they were so bad. They were like the absolute bottom of any turd that you could possibly find. They were just absolute diarrhea donkey doo-doo cheeks. Like, they were that bad. So Mark Stoops comes in, I think 2013, somewhere around that range, and slowly over time turns Kentucky into a halfway decent football team. A halfway decent football program. Kentucky is one of those teams that you can at least count on to make a Music City Bowl or a Liberty Bowl. Kentucky will be in a bowl. They just won't be competing for anything above a New Year's Six bowl. No, come on now. The best thing Kentucky's competed for all time was the friggin' Citrus Bowl. They ain't going no New Year's Six. And by the way, I don't say that as a joke either. You go back to Kentucky's best season under Mark Stoops, 2018, and Benny Snell, one of the best running backs they ever had, and just continually ran him. And I think Kentucky went like 9-3 that year. They were a pretty good team. Went to the Citrus Bowl. I think they actually won 10 games that year. And then, praise Mark Stoops, give him a lifetime extension. Kentucky football is back to being relevant, even though they were never back to begin with. But Kentucky football, this is the year that Kentucky is like the best team in all the history of the best teams. And then there's talk about them winning the East. And then, throughout the first 5-6 games, they beat up on a bunch of lower tier doo-doo opponents. And then once they get into the latter half of their schedule, they're already talking about basketball and baseball. So, yeah, Kentucky's overrated. Shocking revelation there. Anybody with a brain knew that was going to occur. But as it pertains to just Kentucky and Tennessee, I'm like a lot of fans on both sides here. There's been talk about bringing back the barrel. It was a trophy that was, carried around. It was a big piece of hardware. It was a big barrel. It was a humongous barrel that each team, they'd put it on the sidelines for the Tennessee-Kentucky game, and they'd have it around for a year until the next team wins. And they did that for a long time. I think they stopped doing it in the 90s. And now Tennessee fans want it back, and they want to at least have some hardware. And, well, you already know Tennessee fans would have some hardware. Kentucky ain't winning no barrel. We're going to be in the year 2050 at some point in time. And whenever, imagine being a child born in 2030 and then taking a look at that barrel and you're like, hey, Dad, what's that? Oh, that's just proof that we own Kentucky. And oh boy, is it proof that we own Kentucky. Take a look at just the series in general. Just the series in general between Tennessee and Kentucky. I mean, one team is just so far dominant that if you won 50 years in a row, if Kentucky had a 50-game winning streak against Tennessee, they still wouldn't tie the series. That's how far ahead Tennessee is. I legitimately cannot picture in my mind a series more lopsided than that Tennessee-Kentucky series. Tennessee-Vandy is way, way better off than that because Vandy had a bunch of wins when Hunter Renfrow was still in college back in the 1900s. The 19th century. Vandy was able to parade around those wins. Something else you don't see often, and this only pertains to Kentucky fans. Every single fan, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere else you can find, it can be on Google Hangouts for all I care. You have one fan base. You have one fan arguing with another fan. That's how it's always been in college football. But I've never, and sometimes you'll get fans arguing with other fans of the same team. Say one fan says the team sucks, and the other fan's like, no, just just give us a few more games, and then they argue about it. That's how it's always been. With Kentucky fans, and this is so weird, I've never seen anybody do this, Kentucky basketball fans and Kentucky football fans argue about which program is better. If you think I'm going a little overboard on this, just ask John Calipari, the basketball head coach for Kentucky. He made a comment, I think it was 2 years ago or something like that, talking about Kentucky's basketball program being better than their football program. And if I remember, I'll drop that in here so that you can see for yourself.
This is a basketball school. It's always been there. Alabama is a football school. So is Georgia. I mean, they are.
Right.
This is about, our football team, I hope they win games and 10 games and go to bowls. At the end of the day, that makes my job easier, and it makes the job of all of us easier. But this is a basketball school.
But yeah, no, he leaves a comment about that, and Mark Stoops in his press conference, I think it was during the summer when this happened, or it might have been right before the college football season. Whatever time it was, Mark Stoops was pissed about it. I mean, he gets on his press conference and he lets John Calipari know about it.
When you start talking about my program and others that we compete against, I mean, I don't do that.
And then just back and forth, I think it was just that one press conference between the two coaches. And then, of course, Kentucky fans, or I should say Kentucky football fans and Kentucky basketball fans, ran with it. And because they argued with each other back and forth for like a full year about which program is better. Of course, it didn't take long to find out Kentucky's basketball program probably a little bit better than the football program. But of course, they didn't want to hear that, at least the Kentucky football fans. That was until March. The funny thing is, and this is going to make Kentucky fans really mad, yeah, we own you in football. That's obvious. But now, it's gotten so bad that we own you in basketball, too. Kentucky man's scraping for whatever they can find because they can't beat Tennessee in anything. They're a lot like Vanderbilt, just perennially getting owned no matter what they do in any single sport you can possibly imagine. Tennessee rugby, Tennessee volleyball, Tennessee tennis. No matter what you see, there's always another score update. Uh-oh, Tennessee beat Kentucky again. That's about as shocking news as the sky being blue. But there's one thing that ain't going to be blue, and that's y'all's stupid stadium. It's going to be filled with orange. You want to know, this is super funny, okay? Another really funny thing to mention with Kentucky is that, Kentucky fans have been running around all week saying Tennessee can't win a big game on the road. They can't win an SEC game on the road. They can't deal with hostile SEC environments. They can't deal with hostile SEC environments. I might give you that. I might tell you that Tennessee playing in a hostile SEC environment is detrimental to them, and they tend to play bad going on the road into a very hostile SEC stadium. Kroger Field ain't no hostile stadium! You think we're afraid of Kroger Field? Oh, yeah, this Kroger Field, man, that's the real deal right there. Kroger Field, man, I'm telling you, that's where it's at. And then the Will Levis thing was just absolutely insane. Will Levis, pretty good talent. I thought he was a pretty good quarterback at Kentucky, but all throughout the course of the offseason and even up till the Tennessee game last season, they were telling us that Will Levis is, the best quarterback since, he's the best quarterback since anybody's ever played quarterback. He's up there with Joe friggin' Burrow in terms of quarterbacks. He's a first round, he's a top 5 elite talent at quarterback, and he just, he's going to completely tear apart Tennessee and all this. And, well, what happens? He throws 3 interceptions and a total of, did they even score at the end? Yeah, they scored 6 points. So look, Kentucky man, if you don't get the memo already, which you should by now, Tennessee has owned you in basically everything. They've been whooping your behinds for the longest time now, but we get to do it again. And you'll see that tomorrow when Tennessee at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time rolls into Kroger Field and puts the whooping of a lifetime on the Kentucky Wildcats. Then you can jump on to Twitter or wherever, maybe run away for a few more weeks until basketball season kicks off. Pretend that you can beat Tennessee in something until they beat you again in basketball like they always do, and then you roll back. You probably disappear for a whole nother year, so that we can repeat this exact same process in the fall. So, it's a continuous process with you Kentucky fans. So I'll end it out like this, and I'll tell you the truth, which is that Tennessee, like I said, is going to put the whooping of an absolute lifetime on the Kentucky Wildcats. Go Vols, baby! Kentucky, football season's over for